Okay, everybody, we're here today.
What's happening?
Hi, guys. How's it going, John? We're here for another episode of American Coin and Currency Numismatic Talk, covering past, present, and future in the industry and how we're getting involved. How are you today, John?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Great. These streams are getting better. We're on different platforms today. I think we're on 5 platforms and using 7 accounts. So
Wow.
we're, ac-
Yeah.
we're across X, 3 accounts on X, Instagram, uh, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So yeah, we're covering
Love it.
all our bases today, and yeah, it's exciting to have you and exciting to be here. So um,
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone too. In the last week, since last time we did this, last Thursday, I've had I don't even know how many conversations with people who have reached out, um, either just getting questions answered or a few people opened up accounts, which was great, looking to build a portfolio of coins. So yeah, I really appreciate that. And like I always say, we're here to assist in any way that we can.
mm,
So I always make time and educating educating people about this industry to me is paramount. So just thank you everyone for reaching out, and please do so again in the future.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good way to capture an audience that may not understand the industry and how to get into numismatic, collecting and having those safeguards and someone with your expertise is going to be really helpful for those who are getting in the industry. So it's a good platform for people to really take on a lot of information from experts, and then also we're going to be able to bring other experts in here and give their take.
Yeah,
So
that's going to be exciting. We're going to bring in some guests that are going to have a different perspective and
mhm.
different advice on what to do and what not to do in this industry and in this business. So that's good. I'm really looking forward to that. And you know, we've talked during the week, obviously, and
Mm,
I'm always looking forward to these because there's just so much for us to talk about, right?
mm,
And last week we were kind of just scratching the surface on some educational aspects of investing and collecting numismatics and precious metals. And so I was thinking what would be really a good talking point or talking points this week. And when people get into and we're gonna for those that only deal in precious metals or purchase precious metals, we're gonna have discussions about that as well. Only precious metals based discussions. Um, but with numismatic coins, there's so many different areas in this that I want to just take a couple weeks, but we'll be going back and forth for those of you that don't purchase numismatics, only purchase precious metals. Uh, but with that being said, there's so many different avenues that you can go down when you get involved with investing in numismatic coins, and by that, what I mean is there's some people out there and dealers too. There's dealers that only deal in Morgan silver dollars. There's dealers that only deal in Buffalo nickels. There's dealers that only deal in, really finite avenues of coins. So, with that being said, something that's near and dear to my heart, and I think I've mentioned this before in the past, when people do get involved, everyone seems to find something that pulls on them that they really like collecting and investing in, whether it be Morgans, whether it be gold double eagles. Um, what I wanted to talk about this week was there's something they're known as private and territorial gold pieces, gold coins, and the history of it is absolutely fascinating. It's really the history of our country, and by that what I mean is so back in the early 1800s, obviously they were minting gold coins. The Philadelphia Mint was the main one, and you also had, I'm not sure the exact date, but you had on the East Coast the Loniga Mint and the
mm,
Charlotte, both of which were destroyed in the in the Civil War, uh, the first gold rush in the United States was actually in the Carolinas. A lot of
Okay.
people realize that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So there was a at that time, the United, and I'm talking like 1820s, 1830s, the United
Mm.
States Mint, they didn't have small denominational gold. It was
Hmm.
larger pieces. In fact, the $20 gold piece didn't even come out till 1849. So what we were using at that time was really other countries' coins
Oh,
for
interesting.
our own commerce. And
Hmm.
it took decades and decades for the United States Mint to kind of catch up. So this gold rush took place Carolinas, Georgia, and there was a uh, what what was created was you had private mints because a lack of U.S. Specie. Specie is basically it's coins, not paper currency. And because of the lack of that specie, some entrepreneurial gentlemen created their own mints in essence, and they were their own assayers. They minted the coins. One of the first, and I have one here to show you, is a Beckler. It's called Augustus Beckler. Was from the East Coast, and he was one of the first that actually created a private mint and struck his own coins, uh, different areas. So when you get one of these coins, if anyone ever sees one or gets one, you'll see it'll either say Carolina gold on there, because I believe at this time there was no North or South Carolina. It was just Carolinas, or it'll say Georgia gold. So he started minting these coins. Not many of these are still around, so they're very, very, very highly collectible. Um, Andrew Jackson gets in office, and uh, he's a big proponent for a push westward, right? And then you had the Monroe Doctrine after, which before, my brain is, I think it was before, um, which was basically asking the citizens, we need to settle the West, we need to push westward. So um, we push west, we go out to California. There's already people there, obviously, but we really start building it up. At that time, San Francisco wasn't even San Francisco. It was actually named Yerba Buena, and it didn't change to San Francisco until 1847. So think about that. All these people are moving out west. Um, they need to transact commerce, and really the only way to pay, most people used Spanish coins. Spanish pieces of 8 were kind of the standard for payment at that time, among some other foreign coins. A very limited amount of United States mint coins actually made it all the way out west. And if you think about it for a second, you realize it's not like today. Back then in the 1830s, 1840s, you either had to transport those coins, gold and silver, all the way across the United States, which was still a dangerous route, because you would be attacked most likely, either by bandits, by indigenous. It was it was not an easy crossing. Or you could take a ship and go all the way around South America up to California coast. Or the third option was they would actually go to where the Panama Canal is, which is known as the Isthmus of Panama, and they would cross that stretch of land using donkeys and other pack animals, of course, with armed guards, to the Caribbean, and then from the Caribbean up to the East Coast. Either way, the shortest route was roughly 30 days, so a lot of time. What happened was, as most people do realize, we had a huge gold rush in California, right? So in 1848 at Sutter's Mill, gold was discovered, and by 1849, it was a full blown gold rush. So people from all around the world were flocking into California. to strike it rich. There was still no mint in California, so people were using gold flakes, gold nuggets, gold as a medium of exchange, and that was fraught with all kinds of problems, right? Because certain gold, depending on where you get it, the purity is different. That's why you need an assayer. Uh, so I love this story too, Dustin. There was an account of saloons in the old west in this area around Sutter's Mill. They
Mhm.
would actually hire bartenders with huge hands. I have pretty big hands, so guys like with my size hands, they would take a pinch, and a pinch would buy a few shots or whatever it would be. But because you had bigger
Mm.
fingers, or they'd wet their fingers on their brow, and that
Oh, okay.
a little more gold out of
Get
that.
away with it, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this was a problem, and people felt that either they were overpaying or they were being taken advantage of.
Right. Yeah.
So the model that Augustus Speckler and there was another house, Templeton Reed was actually my understanding, the first private mint in the United States.
Mm.
They knew about these mints, so people that actually left the East Coast went to the West Coast to seek their fortunes. They took that knowledge and they went there and they started other private mints. So, excuse me, it was a very, very lucrative business model for the people that had the knowledge and the means to open up private mints. What they
Mm.
would do is they would basically purchase the raw gold from the public at a discount. From what I've read, it's up to 40% off of what the going rate was at that time. And
Okay.
they would then melt this gold down, purify it, and create coins out of it. These coins were uh, known as California fractionals. I love California fractionals, and we'll get into
Interesting.
that a little bit more. But excuse me.
Yeah, I wanted to add because I'm actually from that part of California, and Sutter's very familiar in the name. I'm not sure exactly where location wise, but I lived in kind of the east of Sacramento area. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so Sutter, and I was in the Gold Country area actually. Mark Twain was pretty prominent. He's actually from my area. A lot of the stories are like Tom Sawyer and whatnot, but um, gold was pretty prominent in that town. There's like in that general area, whereas like literally, boom and bust, like everything was gold surrounding the minting, the mining, the everything, and still to this day, but significantly dropped at that point. But it's interesting that you're bringing up like Sutter and like these like I guess encampments and whatnot. Um, what was like the first mint? Because you mentioned like San Francisco is like that the San Francisco mint you're mentioning
Well, Philadelphia was the first, the
was
Philly
the
Mint.
first. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that was the first mint. Uh, exact year, I'm not sure. I know that this, 1794 dollars, one of the most valuable coins
Hmm.
ever struck at the Philly Mint. That one recently sold for over $10 million. So
Oh, yep, the 1794, right? Yeah, okay.
yeah, for an
Yeah,
ounce of silver.
yeah.
So yeah, that's really cool. I was wondering if they still try to mine gold over there, if they still pan, or I don't know if anyone pans, but if
Hmm.
they still.
Yeah, yeah. I was very when I at a young age we panned gold and used dredging in the creek beds and people still find gold just loose in the ground. I've seen it when I was a child, like someone pull out like a several ounce piece of gold and there's a giant piece of gold at like a vineyard. They have the display. Yeah, it's pretty prevalent. I would say it's at least more accessible that I've seen in anywhere. Just because the ground is very, it has that dark, soot looking, creek bed. So we're just like, yeah, that's part of our actually history where I lived in California. A lot of it is dredging and learning how to pan gold, and yeah, it's pretty
That's
common.
yeah, that's I mean, that literally changed the course of the United States. If
Mm.
if that gold had not been found at that time, I'm sure it would have been found at some point, but that put the United States on the world stage. We were at a
Mm,
big deficit at that time uh,
right.
for gold reserves in the United States. European countries had us beat by far, and it's kind of
Wow.
interesting that prior to the 1830s, Russia had a big foothold in California.
Oh.
California, Oregon, that they were big in the fur trade. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Luckily, they didn't find the gold. You know,
They weren't looking for gold.
trying
They're
to buy
looking for,
California from us or their territory.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um, so think about it. Put yourself. I always like to try to put myself in at that time and think about how it would be. Uh, you're trying to live your life. You're trying to buy things. You're trying to, barter. Well, not barter, but you had to barter or pay for things.
Right.
Um, if there was actually a premium, people hoarded U.S. coins at that time, and there was up to a 20% premium for U.S. struck coins because there was such a
Hmm.
lack of them out there. Even when the private mints came about, there was still just a woefully small amount of U.S. minted coins in that territory in that area.
Right.
So there were a lot of them were jewelers from what I've read. Some were actually they were they worked at maybe the mint up in Philly. They knew how this worked. They went out to California.
Mm.
California fractionals. So a California gold fractional. What they did, it's a fraction of a dollar. I'll show you one here. This is actually a 50-cent piece.
Okay.
Beautiful coin. I don't know if you can see that too well. My camera has to kind of catch up. But this piece here, it's 1873 round Liberty. So what they did, and there was many uh, private jewelers, private mints that started creating these because the
Mm.
margins were huge. I mean, think about it. If you did $100,000 worth of business, that's $30,000 to $40,000 you made in the 1840s, 1850s. That
Wow.
you were a wealthy man at that time if you did that.
Mm.
So what they did was because most people didn't they didn't even have in 1849 they had just struck the $20, but most people even in the 1850s did not carry around a $20 gold piece, a $10, or a $5. I mean, that was a $5 gold piece might have been a month's salary for somebody. So
Wow.
those were mostly used by banks, by institutions, by wealthy people. So there was a real need for smaller denominational gold payments, gold specie. So they created a dollar, a 50-cent, and a 25-cent fractional gold
Mm.
pieces, and they were either round or octagonal, and either had a liberty or an Indian head on them.
Mm.
And so there's all these different variations. And a few years ago, uh, more than a few decades ago, some people in the industry they cataloged. The last names were Brilio and Green, so we go by what's called a BG book, which catalogs every single fractional that was created. So I don't know if you can see on there. It says BG 1012. That's the identifier. That's the BG number. So it goes all the way from BG 100 all the way up to BG. I believe it's in the 1500s. Because I've actually had a customer who had every BG number, which was pretty incredible. It took them many years to create it. Anyways, so they create these coins and they create them up until the 1870s, 1880s. Uh, Prior to that, they were made illegal. Once the San Francisco Mint had been created, they pretty much outlawed the private minting of coins. Uh, Excuse me. So why am I bringing this up? Why even talk about it? In this world of collecting and investing in rarities, story is everything, and rarity is everything. This piece in particular, um, this is a Mint State 67 proof like. Now, when I see that, my mind is blown, and how did this survive?
Mm.
to this day. I
Yep.
mean, this is 1873, and it's 3 grades away from perfect. This is a small little coin, and you have to think, Dustin. Back then, people used to keep their coins in a money bag or money pouch or
Mm.
somewhere safe. So they all clanked together. They would get bent. They would get marred. They would get scratched. It's exceptional to find one in that condition. And of course, this is an anomaly. I mean, there are some others out there like this, but the reason why this is so spectacular is because there's truly a finite amount of these. There's the the historical significance of these is immense,
Mm.
and really they're just freaking cool. Like they're really cool. So there's I don't want to say huge, but there is a robust market of people that collect these types of pieces. My experience when you start learning about this industry and I don't care if it's comic books, I don't care if it's sports memorabilia or if it's fine wine or coins. You find things that are really niche and that
Mm.
are extremely low populations, and those are the pieces that will show returns. Uh, People will always collect these kinds of things, especially people. I have customers in California who absolutely love California gold pieces. Like they want to own
Mm.
them, they want to collect them. Um, it's extraordinary to me that the ingenuity of just humans and what we can create and come up with when needed. So these coins were created in California, as well as other larger coins, which we can get into at another time. I kind of want to focus on the California fractionals a little bit. Excuse me. So collecting these is something that's rewarding because when you get a coin like this, it to me it's fun to look them up. I love history. I love learning, and when I get a coin like this, I can look it up. I could see what was happening in 1873, what was going on in California at that time. Each piece is a historical lesson, and to me, that adds value to the coins above and beyond its intrinsic value that it already has built in.
Mm.
Um, I suggest, and not it's not for everyone. Like I said, everyone kind of veers eventually towards things that they like. I love private and territorial gold pieces because it's a reflection of what was happening in our country at that time and what wild changes were happening in the country at that time. From 1848 onwards, the United States was fast tracked, and that was because of gold, and that was because of private minters creating gold pieces that then were used for commerce, not only in California in that territory, but other areas of the country and in other countries. It kind of showcased what the United States was doing at that time, pre San Francisco Mint, and it's a piece that is not only for California, not only was happening in California, but when you dig a little deeper, Dustin, you'll see that this was going on all throughout the country. So I know I jumped from the Carolinas out to Sutter's Mill, California, but there was a lot going on in between too. And by that, what I mean is around that same time frame, roughly, you had a group which everyone knows now, which are the Mormons. They kind of
Mm.
were pushed out of the area that they were because they were more towards like Ohio, the Northeast. Um,
Oh,
they moved out to would eventually Salt Lake City, Utah area.
right. Mhm.
They had their own, a Mormon. They created their own mint, they created their own coins, but a Mormon
Mm.
gold piece is you're not going to touch one for under $100,000. They're just
Wow.
extraordinary pieces, and in fact, if any come up for sale, the Mormon museum in Salt Lake City will most likely purchase it from you to put
Oh.
it in the museum. So you had that going on over there. You had Colorado gold. Like this here is one of my favorite pieces actually. Clark Gruber was the name of the company. Clark and Gruber. So they created some denominational gold. Again, these are not U.S. mint. These are private mint coins, but they have all the hallmarks of a U.S. minted coin. I mean, the designs are gorgeous. You couldn't tell the difference if the U.S. Mint struck this or in this case Clark and Gruber. So Clark Gruber was around Colorado area, Colorado gold. So gold was being found, different places all over the country. Alaska, of course, there's coins that come from Alaska that were private mint, and excuse me, uh, these coins. So I'll share something with you. I got this coin, I don't know, a few years back. I bought it back from a customer who had bought it years prior, and I kind of forgot about it. This is from my private collection. Uh, but last time when I went to go look and just see the price of it, I was shocked how much they've gone up in value. And that's really, I mean, yeah, we do get rewarded in collecting and investing in coins by the physical coins themselves, by looking at them. I pull out my coins quite often and look at them. And even though I've looked at them and stared at them a million times, it still gives me a certain level of joy and satisfaction. And I'm not alone in that. A lot of collectors feel the same way. They like to look at them. So the appreciation in these coins, and appreciation, I mean monetarily, is pretty astounding. And I don't see why that would slow down anytime soon, being that more and more people are getting into this space. More and more money is pouring into this space, and more people are looking for the best of the best. You know, I don't know about you, but when I invest in something, when I buy something, I want to get a return on it. You
Yeah,
know?
of course.
So to me, this is like a win-win-win-win. I get something that's historical. I get something that intrigues me, that I can do some research on, and above and beyond all that, there's a good chance I'm also going to get a return. Now, obviously, returns are not promised. I'm not saying anything like that, promising a return, but just based off in my personal experience with my private and territorial mint pieces, the returns I've seen is pretty astounding. And so I just don't see that slowing down. Up until very recently, we pitched ourselves. We what's the right word for it? We would say that we specialized in private and territorial gold. That's what American Coins did for several years. So we're pretty well versed in this. Of course, we deal in all kinds of coins, but the private and territorial coins um, are fascinating, and I think that anyone who would get involved in these would absolutely love them. Now, let me say that obviously, when you start getting into gold, the dollar figures go up as far as price. You still can get great satisfaction out of collecting silver coins, and there's some silver coins, like I said earlier, with that 1794 that are worth much more than gold. Uh, but when you start getting into this arena, I just want to kind of put it out there that you're going to be looking to spend anywhere from a couple $1,000s up to $20,000, $30,000 a coin. But a lot of times, like anything, you get what you pay for, and so there's so much that we can go into with private and territorial gold pieces. The history is phenomenal, and one of my favorite resources that I want to share with everyone. This is available on Amazon. This is by Donald Kagan. Anyone in the coin industry knows Kagan. Kagan Rare Coins is one of the oldest and most reputable uh, rare coin and numismatic dealers in the world. Absolutely fascinating book. It goes through every single private minter, the whole history, what was going on at that time, the government's reactions, what they needed to do to fix the problems with having currency that could be used instead of using either dust or other countries' specie. I recommend that book to anyone who really wants to learn more about these types of coins, or anyone that, of course, was looking to put money into it. you'll enjoy the read. If you like history, um, that's a great read about what the westward expansion and how gold played a direct role in turning the United States. I mean, it wasn't really that long between 1848 and World War One, right, where we stepped onto the world stage. A huge transformation had taken place in those decades, and that was a direct result of that gold rush at Sutter's Mill.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting because, um, yeah, mentioning about where kind of like the direction the United States kind of moved towards once the discovery of gold and how that really impacted like infrastructure and building out west rather than just focusing on the Carolinas and the East Coast, which is our first landing when it comes to the United States. Most of the infrastructure and was created on the first 13 colonies,
Oh yeah.
and then so like yeah, it's interesting to hear like the different like yeah, the fractionalization or the different territories and creating specific coinage in those areas. I guess what are some of your like favorite pieces per se, maybe from specific areas, if it's like from Alaska
Oh
or
sure.
Philadelphia or California, and then what are some like maybe low hanging fruit, like accessibility for people getting into the space, and like maybe something that's more tangible, because maybe some of these like territorial pieces are not as accessible financially, or just not having the knowledge of accessing them. Is there like a specific coin that you would recommend?
Sure. So yeah, Templeton Reed, as I said earlier, that was the first. It was Georgia, 1830 was when they struck their first coins. Of course, those are wildly expensive, right? But accessibility into this space, yes, there are California fractionals that are a couple $100, a few $100. So that's a great starting point, and I'm talking as low as like $500, sometimes even a little less. That's a great entry point because you can start getting involved at a level and then start understanding um, where to go from there with that collection. Uh, the rare pieces, of course, they don't come up for sale too often, but they do. They do come up in auction, private sales, and we have access to all of that. So if anyone, we actually do. Um, we are representatives for wealthy individuals that want to uh, be anonymous when there's auctions that take place. Um, so, excuse me. I would recommend if you do have interest in this, reach out to me and I can send you some information. It'd just be literature to start, uh, to kind of give you a broader understanding of what's out there and what's available. And yes, there's actually Alaskan gold coins. Uh, they're commonly known as pinches, Alaskan pinch. It's a small gold coin. And there's Yukon gold. So anywhere that gold was struck, there were people that followed and became private minters because I'm sure like I said earlier, the margins were huge and there's a lot of money to be made. So I would recommend you reach out and let me get you out some basic information, some literature, and see if it's for you. If it pulls at you, if it's something you want to learn more about, then that just makes it more fun and exciting to collect and invest in these kinds of pieces. So that's what I would recommend. So the short answer is yeah, there is some lower hanging fruit as far as entry points with California
Mhm.
fractionals, and then they go up all the way over $100,000 for. I mean, this is a 20th of an ounce of gold. Maybe a little less, but I'm going to say it's no, I'm sorry, the dollars are 20. This is a 40th of an ounce of gold. But
Mm.
this piece in particular, off the top of my head, I'd say, I mean, this isn't crazy. This is probably like a $2,500 piece, but it's a mid stage 67 proof like. So a proof like is just like how it sounds. Can you see the designation on there, the PL? Both
Yeah.
NGC and PCGS, they both grade coins with proof like. There's proof like, there's deep mirror proof like DMPL,
Hmm.
and then there's DPL, deep proof like. So three different variations that a coin might grade at. I should say a fractional in this case might grade at. And when you look at this, you can kind of tell it's a proof like. And really, what that means is just how it sounds. It looks like a proof, kind of like a proof. So proof like.
Hmm.
It's not a proof. They didn't make proofs in these coins. They just struck them for use. But in my guess would be the way that this got this kind of finish on it was it might have been struck, might have been the first coin struck after the dies were polished. Um, so
Hmm.
typically in today's world, when proofs are made, a proof has that luxurious look to it because the
Hmm.
dies are honed, they're polished, and then they're struck multiple times to give the
Okay.
coin that look. So in this case, this was probably the first coin struck after the die had just been polished because the dies wear out. They need to keep them up to speed as far as their appearance, so that the coin has its fields and has its appearance, so you can actually see what's on it. That would
Hmm.
be my best guess for how that was created. So there's not a lot of them, as you could imagine.
Hmm.
But even that, at let's say $2,500, that's a pretty low entry point for something that's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. That it's only three grades away from perfect, and it's proof like. And again, you can actually, for someone that does have the means, and there are people that have done it, because like I said, we had a client who did it. Collect every single BG number from BG 101 all the way up to BG, I think it's like 1500 something. That's a lot of variations of coins. Every once in a while, they still find one that's not cataloged. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And one other thing, real quick, when you get into when you get into like these kinds of coins, like the California fractionals, um, the BG book, which is also available online, it's expensive. They didn't make many of those BG books, the Brillo and Green, the one that catalogs California fractionals. The book alone is a few $100s, but in that book, there's a rarity scale. So rarity 1 to rarity 8. Rarity 1 being the most common, rarity 8. So you'll hear like what's the R number? Is it an R7, R7 plus, R7 minus, that's the rarity scale. A rarity 8 would be unique. There's only one known. And a rarity 1 would be, there's, off the top of my head, I think there's like 150 to 500 or something in that area. Still super duper low populations in comparison with today's mintages. Um, so, again, I would recommend reaching out to me or someone at our team here at American Coin. And you can do that by email, youneedcoins at Gmail. Dustin always has all the contact information below, or give us a call, and we can get the ball rolling as far as discovery of information for you.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you want to come check us out, I'll show you guys our website, um, and then you guys can get a hold of us. Um, here we go. Here we got PCGS right here. Wow. So we can check us out at coinandcurrency.net. You can check us out on eBay. We have really good positive feedback. We have quite a bit of number of items available, from PMG to PCGS, and as well as NGC products. So we're an ANA member lifetime. So you can check us out under any credentials you want to look up. I've been a member on eBay since 2020, so we do have good credibility. We're available also on Facebook. We're live on 5 platforms today, so you can be everywhere. At the same time, we're going to be expanding as well, so hopefully we're on 2 or 3 more platforms next week.
Yeah.
But we'll just keep pushing. But yeah, we're always available here locally, West Palm Beach area. If you guys are in the area, feel free to stop by. Um, you can always join us at the physical location, getting a hold of John. Share you guys his number. Let me just pull this up real quick so you guys can hear what the number is, but it's um, 561. Let me get your number right now. Yeah, 561 Call us directly. You can get a hold of us and set up any meetings if you want to look over any products that we have at our location. Um, and yeah, we're gonna be here every week uh, at 1 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. We do our live stream, so yeah, it's always good to be connected with um, our our people here. Yeah, we've got some. What do you got going on here, John?
That's the who is interested in finding one online. I highly recommend it if you're going to go to, like we've said earlier, Dustin, an educated client, a smart client is a good client. I always recommend
Mhm,
knowing what you're getting into, having the resources. I'll always do that for our customers, for anyone who's
mhm,
listening, getting involved. I want you to be educated. I want you to know what you're going into. I don't want anyone to be blind with their purchases.
mhm,
So this is a great resource to have. And again, you might be able to find one on eBay or Amazon. Use one even. Pick one up if you want to go down this road. And one thing I can promise you or anyone else who wants to go get involved with this is that you will have the best time collecting these coins. If you like history, in particular United States history, and if you want to get granular, if you like California history or gold rush history or westward expansion history, you name it, history of the United States, these coins are a direct link to our past. So I promise you that you'll enjoy the experience of the education, knowledge, and collection of these types of assets.
mhm. Yeah, it's really in depth to have that information, especially for anyone that's maybe not of knowledge, especially in specific coins, and they may come across it and they don't know, maybe the history or the value, and they might overlook it at a yard sale or and it's good to have that knowledge and having John here give us good advice, and it's warranted advice. It's not and that we gotta educate those who are not as familiar, and it's good that experts are able to give that advice without too much concern and having a lot of confidence in understanding the industry. So it's good that you're here for the customers, John.
Yeah, we're all in this together, right? I mean, we're
Mm,
excuse me, we're looking to. I'm looking to really build people, and I know I repeat myself when I'm saying this, but
mm,
I'm looking to build world class collections based off your budget. Okay, so I want you to have something that is going to showcase your likes in history. Um, and we can, whether it's California fractionals, whether it's Morgans, whether it's $5 gold pieces, whether it's shipwreck coins, whether it's, I mean, you name it, we can help facilitate that for you. But first is really, I want to be able to speak with you, and I want to be able to educate so that informed decisions are made. Uh, there's a finite amount of these pieces going around, and if you have the means to do so, why not be one of the people that own this? You
mm,
know, if you really want to talk about exclusivity, owning something like that, like the Clark and Gruber that I showed you earlier. I mean,
mm,
there's maybe 100 people on the planet, maybe a few more, that own this out of 8 billion people. To me, I find that fascinating. that I can be in this exclusive group of people that own this. Plus, I love it. I love the history of it. I love all of it.
Mm.
One thing I didn't want to bring up because I see we're almost out of time here. Wow, that goes
Yeah.
quick, huh? That hour.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in the beginning, I've received many calls, I've received many emails, and even texts from people who are listening who have found us online. Thank
Mm.
everyone. I really do thank everyone who's reached out to us. Uh, One question I get a lot with a lot of different coins are errors. So I'm finding a
Mm.
lot of people are reaching out. They have a modern quarter or a penny, and it has some kind of error. And listen, there's value in error coins. Absolutely, that they sell, they're worth more than face value if there's an error. But so
Mm.
something I've noticed in definitely the last year, let's say, is you go online and you see these crazy prices. Like this coin is worth $10 million or $5 million, and it's a
Mm.
1882 quarter of some kind because it has this little error.
Oh,
Listen, guys, everyone, that's just click. It's not real. Don't get
no.
excited when you see that. It's you're probably not going to have that exact coin, and even that exact
Mhm.
coin isn't worth that kind of money. So it's just something I wanted to bring up because I get a lot of people that are really excited when they call or they reach out because they think that they're going to retire with the coin that they just found in their
Mm.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
don't get excited.
I wanted to add, a lot. I get a lot of these comments in our messages, and the biggest takeaway I want to say for anyone is always check the last sold and make sure that actual market value is based on the sales rather than someone just putting a post. So don't be confused when someone puts on, $10 million or even $100,000 for a penny or something. Obviously those errors do have value, but it is not that significant sometimes. Do research, of course, but base it on sales and previous buyers, so that way you're not confused on asking professionals and getting into our messages and then assuming that you have a fortune, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you, so we're getting into the subject I was actually wanting to ask you was the error coins. um I know in my past, I had actually family worked at, I believe, a mint in California, that had struck, double eagles and like, these air mints. Um, are these things you are seeking or have come across or even own in your own personal collection?
Sure. I have errors in my personal, and we've sold plenty of errors in the past. The If you find an error in change, it's fun. It's fun to look through it. It's fun to find them. But really, at the end of the day, it's really just a variety.
Mm.
In most cases, in what I've seen, 98% of the time, uh, it's going to cost you more to get that coin graded than it's worth.
Mm.
So I always advise if you really think that you have something special, of course, reach out to me. I'll let you know as well. But if you don't want to heed my advice, just go get it graded. You can submit if you don't want to submit with us because we're authorized dealers of PCGS and NGC. You could
Mm.
open an account yourself. You go on their website. They do charge an annual fee, which that turns a lot of people off. I believe it's a very nominal fee, and it's worth every penny because you get all the resources that NGC and PCGS offers, which is vast. And anyone looking to get involved doing what we do and collecting and investing in these coins, I highly suggest using NGC and PCGS as tools. If you're not going to grade with them, at least use their resources because I don't think people realize how much they have, how much information, the resources on their websites. It's really incredible the amount that's on there that can be
Mm.
used for educational purposes and to make informed decisions.
Yeah, that's good to have. Yeah, there's a lot of information about errors. I've run into a lot of things, but I'm more prominently understanding of like gold, like double eagles and stuff like that, which it was always been mentioned in my past, which is really
Yeah.
fascinating to see. Have you seen any like 1800 like, yeah, gold eagles or silver eagles or that were errors or double stamped or
I've seen strike throughs. Yeah, I've
Mm,
seen a couple little double shot, the double die on the obverse, sometimes on the reverse.
mm,
It's not too common on those
right.
coins. Not really sure why it seems to be a little more common nowadays. You see a lot more errors, uh,
Hmm.
and that's
Interesting.
kind of because nowadays it's all automated. You know,
Oh, yep.
then they with the coins I showed you guys, they were struck using a steam press in some
Hmm.
cases. In some cases,
Yep.
a cork. I'm sorry, a screw press was what was used,
Interesting.
but it was done manually for the most
Yeah.
part. And then if you go back further to like when Spanish coins are being struck in the New World, they were done with a hammer.
Right. Yeah. Traditional. Yeah.
Real old school. Yeah, but with the errors, again, it's fun. The odds of you finding something that, and I don't want to dissuade anyone, but the odds of you finding something that is going to be worth, just you go buy a car with it is slim to none. But hey, it absolutely happens, and that's why I would never tell someone not to do it.
Mm,
I've spent years. I mean, I spent years. I don't know how many hours I've spent looking through just pennies alone, because I love finding all the different varieties
right.
and then cataloging those different varieties. And there's books for that. There's something called a cherry picker's guide, which again, I don't have one here, but again, you can find those on like eBay, Amazon, that book, and that they give you all the different varieties, whether it be for pennies, dimes, nickels, quarters. It's a good resource. But yeah, that clickbait that I see out there every day, I see these people, hey, this coin is worth $1 million and it's really worth a quarter. And it just
Ugh.
has
Yeah.
fire.
Ugh. Yeah. I'm sure they're really excited to hear if there's significant value, and then just yeah, I mean that's part of the industry's got to be, or any skill set or any collecting, or you have to identify specific and be I guess an expert in specific fields, because there's just so many moving parts, there's so many types of coins, if it's overseas, if it's US coins, and yeah, it's you could have a good knowledge base around overall, but for me, I'm into collecting different things as well, and to identify specific ones, you kind of have to be set your target to those specific, if it's cards or coins or
Yeah,
dollar, paper money, yeah, because then you're just going to get lost in like what you're looking for. But overall, most things are identifiable. You can identify a gold coin specific, you can identify a gold eagle for the most part. Maybe the Sacagawea might be a little bit less identifiable because of the older ones are mostly like regular coins, dollar coins, but then they might see the gold one looks identical.
yeah,
Um, so,
yeah. But you could tell
yeah,
one is gold and one is
r-
just
right.
clad. And there are some rare Sacagaweas. There's a 2000. There's a mule. It's called. Not many of
Mm,
them have been found, but they're still found.
yeah, I
It's basically,
remember.
yeah, yeah. Those
I was
are
looking for them.
me too. I've never
Yeah,
found one.
yeah. My mom would be at the casino, and she get when the dealer would break down the draw. It would be 50-cent pieces or Sacagaweas. So
Yeah,
we'd always have 50-cent pieces. We'll just go through 'em, hey, we've got silver, boom, pop that out. And if it's gold, we literally go to the bank to get the Sacagaweas just to
yeah,
find the gold Sacagawea. Yeah, so we were on the look in the early 2000s for the Sacagaweas.
absolutely. Then they had the ones that were in the Cheerios boxes. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah, yep, they come with the box, yep, I
Yeah,
remember that.
those are valuable. So
Really? Okay.
yeah, yeah. If you I've seen them graded, and they have the provenance that it was
Everything's
from a
that.
Cheerios
Okay,
box,
that makes
and
sense.
they sell for a nice chunk of change.
Hmm,
So there's all kinds of different avenues
right,
we can go down with collecting and investing in coins, and that's what's exciting is that there's something literally for everybody and everyone's budget. And so
true.
I'm a huge proponent. And again, I can't stress enough getting involved with this. Use the resources at hand. Don't be uh, don't feel any certain way about asking questions. Uh, there's nothing wrong with asking questions
Hmm.
because if you're going to spend money, you want to make sure that you're making informed decisions and you're going to get what you're hoping to get, what you're paying for. And so use the resources at your hand. Use us. Use PCGS. Use NGC. Go
Hmm.
to the ANA's website. Here in Florida, we have FUN. That's Florida United Numismatists. We're a lifetime member of
Oh,
that.
okay.
There's resources out there for you to use. And if you really want to become a coin geek like me, you can even subscribe to Coin Week and you get a weekly magazine and a monthly magazine. And that
Mm.
just tells everything that's going on in this industry, releases. It's a great resource to have. So all the resources are at hand to make informed decisions, especially when we get into more pricier products, pricier coins.
Mm.
Uh, that's my best advice is to use the resources at hand. They're there for a reason.
For sure. Yeah, you gotta stay informed, and like you mentioned earlier, is that an informed customer is a good customer.
I
Um,
agree.
so, a few things before we take off here. I wanted to just ask you. Maybe it's a loaded question, but what keeps you up at night? What keeps you burning? What's that burning passion? You're like, I need to get this coin. Like, what are you seeking right now for like that top coin, like in your mind?
Top coin. Right
Yeah,
now
that's hot on the press.
I'm trying to find a because I'm in Florida. I'm in Jupiter, Florida, and
Yeah.
there's actually a shipwreck that's literally 40 yards off the beach. You can see the
Oh,
buoy. You
jeez.
know, um, I am trying to find, and I have been for a long time, a doubloon from that.
Oh.
I've never seen one. I know they exist, but a 1 ounce gold escudo from the Archangel San Miguel. That would be. I have one from the 1715 fleet. I have one from the Etosha. I don't have one from the wreck that's literally right off my beach. Um, that's something that's been keeping me up for a long time, and eventually I'll get it.
All right. If anybody's out there, definitely get a hold of John. Yeah, call John. He is looking for it right now. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's get into the questions. We have some questions from some people here. We'll start with Robert Morris. For a new investor with rather limited assets, ads they better off are they better off buying gold and or silver bullion as opposed to price prohibitions on rare and obscure coins?
Um, yeah. So with limited, that's a great question, and thanks for sending. I would say if you have limited assets, I would right now stick with buying raw gold. Just buy gold or silver. Everyone has their preferences. Mine is raw gold.
Mm.
In that situation, there's a case to be made for numismatics, which we've been talking about today. I think that's a different arena. But if you
Mm.
just have, limited amount and you want to have something in your hand that rainy day, liquid fun, so to speak, um, gold or silver, just raw rounds, little bars, something like that. That's what I would stick with. Again, limited assets. That's all. That could be $1,000. That could be $100,000. It's all relative to the individual. But
Mm.
that would be my advice. Thank you, Robbie, for sending that.
Good question, Robert. I think we have Michael. I'm not sure this is a question. A rare bicentennial quarter that I've never seen. I have one. It's really shiny, and you look zoom in on it, and you got a blue background. I don't
Sounds
know if
like it
that.
was heated
Okay,
at some
yeah.
point.
Okay, well, don't burn your quarters unless you're trying to get the silver content, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, that's interesting. I don't know if that was a question, more of an observation. So, yeah, it sounds like it got burned. So, all right. How can I get my coins graded? It's a fairly basic question, but
Sure.
go ahead.
You could go on to you could go to ngccoin.com or you go to pcgs.com, and as
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, you could sign up. I think it's like $100, and you get a certain amount of submissions for that $100. So it's not like you're just spending the money and you don't get anything for it. You get
Right.
access to increased resources, and you get 2 or 3 submissions for the year for that. Or you can send the coin to us. So what happens a lot of times, Dustin, something that I hear from people that are new to this, well, how do I get my coin to you? You know,
All right.
what am I going to do? I don't know you, and that's why in this industry, being part of the ANA, lifetime member of fund, authorized
Mm,
dealers, PCJ, there's certain we have all of the hallmarks in place so that we're trusted. Um, if you can't find your dealer, like I said before, on the ANA's website, I maybe wouldn't send them a coin. That's just
mm,
me. But listen, every single day, tens of millions of dollars worth of coins are being shipped all from here, there, me, you, back to this dealer, that dealer, this grader. There's never any issues. Never
wow.
any issues. So you could send, if you wanted to submit, mail us, reach out to me, give you all the information. But basically, all it is you send the coin, United States Postal Service, with signature confirmation so that you can track the package and track who signed for it. Comes to us. We tell you, we let you know we have receipt of your package and of the coin. We then submit it. We then send you the submission forms as well, so you can contact NGC, because anyone can call NGC with information and find out what's happening with the coin. Um, and depending on what the coin is, it could be as few as 10 days up to 60, 70 days to get the coin back. It's a really easy process.
Okay. Well, that's a informative answer. That's for sure. So hopefully that answered your question, as well as for Michael and Robert. Appreciate you guys. That's all we have for today. Yeah, get a hold of us here in West Beach or West Palm Beach as well. As we share the number, 561 That's a direct line to John. Is there another number we should share for
Yeah,
people?
we have our toll free number, which is 888-707-1781.
1781. Let's see if I can share this on the screen here. Okay, let's pull that up there. Yeah, 888-707-1781. Get a hold of us as well. And yeah, we're on eBay as well, and Facebook, Instagram, and on X. So you can find us pretty much everywhere. And we're going to be contacting some people for guests. So we're hopefully got some guests for us this next week, as well as some new content as well. And we're going to be sharing a lot of these shorts on various platforms. So
Yeah,
excited
and
to be here.
absolutely, and thank you, Dustin, as always. And if anyone has any suggestions on a topic, anything you'd like us to discuss, please
Hmm.
put it in the comments, and I'm happy to discuss it as best as we can.
Yeah, feel free to reach out. Our DMs are open. You can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, X, wherever you find us. YouTube, you can leave a comment. We're always here to help you guys and definitely answer some questions. So, all right. Well,
Absolutely, we're here to help. We really are here to help.
here to help for sure. And an informed customer is a good customer. So, we want to make sure that you guys have the right info. So yeah, we're here every week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And this American Coin Currency are for Numismatic. I keep it. New num
You got it. Come
numismatic.
on.
So, I know the name. I was just like running. Yeah, numismatic talk is our name. We changed the name recently. My bad. So yeah, we're here every week, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Till next time.
Till next time.